Hi and welcome to CF Week 2020. It's just gone 6:30 in the morning on Monday the 15th of June and I'm about to do my weekly tablet pop. I do this once a week and fill up all the tablets for the week. Get very annoyed at myself if I've missed any during the week and go from there. I think I've got everything on the table, although it's a bit of a mess. But I'm just going to double check I've got everything and then I will show you what I do. Okay, please forgive any inconsistencies with the video. I'm terrible at this. As many of you may know, cystic fibrosis is a degenerative lung condition. Affects roughly 7,500 people in the UK. When I was born, almost exactly 37 years ago, life expectancy was around 2, and these days it's closer to sort of 39, 40 in the UK. So, tablets. First off, salt tablets. Take these so as to keep my salt levels up. One of the main problems with cystic fibrosis is it is actually a salt problem. So particularly in the summer I have to take up to 3 of these a day. The weather's due to be hot this week, so I will be taking 3 a day. That's 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening and 1 at lunchtime. Because I am a very, very naughty boy, I forgot to take them at lunchtime last week. And so I don't actually have to fill those up, but normally I would do. So that's those filled. As it happens to be next in front of me, I shall now do Montelukast. Montelukast is excuse me, antimucolytic tablet. It helps with sort of asthma-like symptoms, and I'm on 2 of these every evening. Fiddly fiddly to do. Oops. That done. Next up, we have my Unifilin, which is a theophylline, which again is to do with mucolytics. Keeps the mucus in my lungs as thin as possible so I can get rid of it. Normally I'd be on one of these twice a day, but at the moment I'm on an antibiotic called Ciprofloxacin, which means it has an effect on the dose of theophylline in my body, which is toxic at certain levels, so I have to do a half dose. Next up, omeprazole. Omeprazole is an antacid. One of the problems people with CF often have is that we have quite bad stomach issues, and easy way around that one is an antacid. So I'm on 2 of these twice a day. And to all those wondering if I walk around rattling, yes, I do. Particularly when I was on, now I'm on a lower strength of my digestive enzyme Creon. Apologies if you can hear the bin lorry in the background. I really should have done this before I went for my run, but at the moment, because of the COVID-19 situation, I am making sure I am home again before as close to 6:15 as I can sensibly manage, because that's when it starts getting busy, particularly today, as the shops are due to open again for the first time in about 3 months. And the roads and the high street were actually quite busy. certainly the busiest I've seen them in months that I have been doing this. So that's my antacid done. Next up, we're going to do my colifer, also known as my bevrin. This is actually an anti-IBS medication. One of the problems that cystic fibrosis gives with regards to the stomach is that it is actually very difficult to diagnose pretty much any other issue that a person may have, because the symptoms that we get through cystic fibrosis are exactly the same as an awful lot of other medical conditions, such as IBS, bowel cancer, etc. And so we don't actually know if I have IBS or not. It is almost impossible to tell. But we do find that it is a particularly effective medicine for me, so the docs leave me on it. Next up, my anti-allergy meds. I'm on cferthorney, and because my allergies are particularly bad at the moment, I'm on 2 a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. That won't be lasting too much longer because it's actually tree pollen that I'm allergic to rather than plant pollen. And we are heading towards the end of tree pollen season here in the UK. I'll probably be able to stop the second one sort of towards the end of July. But typically I will tend to take them until take 2 a day till late August, early September, and then I will drop down to 1 a day for winter season, picking up again in February, back to 2. Prucalopride. This is an antispasmodic, and this one's obviously Greek. My gut works particularly slowly, even by people with CF's standards, and this basically helps my gut move everything around my body. It's 1 every morning. Interesting note about this one was it was actually very difficult to get it licensed for men, because there are not so many men that suffer from the kinds of problems it deals with, and I was officially on it on what's known as off-label usage for a while, because it was not licensed for men. This has apparently now been resolved, and yeah, so interesting fact about prucalopride. Next up, I'm going to do my Ciprofloxacin. That's just an oral antibiotic that I'm often put on because at the moment I'm not particularly well. And whilst we're not trying to avoid intravenous antibiotics at the moment in quite the same way as I was a few weeks ago, just because of the risk from COVID-19, it was decided that because we can only go to the hospital on certain days of the week, in part because of the way that everything works around here at the moment, in terms of cross-infection, etc. I kind of have to only go on a Tuesday, and so I'm very much in a position where I need drugs to get me through till Tuesday, and I will need to get some more ciprofloxacin because I have a dose short. I have miscounted. I'm on 750 mg. Trying to find a part used one. So yeah, I'm on 750 mg of this twice a day, for 2 weeks. It's one we always like to keep in stock at home in case I need to start it. Normally pharmacies don't encourage people to keep antibiotics at home that they don't need, but because we need to come on and off them fairly rapidly, we usually keep a week or 2 weeks of that particular one in stock. Right, Docosate. This one is designed to help everything move through my system in a slightly different way. I would advise against Googling it if you're slightly squeamish. But one of the problems that people with cystic fibrosis often get is called DIOS, which, if I remember rightly, is direct intestinal obstruction syndrome, or something like that anyway. Basically it means very, very, very severe constipation, and this just helps prevent that without needing to resort to laxatives, or as I prefer to refer to them as zinc and plug hole and block. So that's those done, and that should be all my evening meds. Yes, all the rest is just stock that I keep in the box. So that's my evening meds sorted, with the exception of Kalydeco, which is part of the Synkevi and Kalydeco that I'm on, but I don't pop these out their box, partly because it helps me make sure that whether I've taken them or not, and also to a certain degree it's a lot more important that these get taken than these. If I forget these, it's much less of a problem to me on a day-to-day than if I forget these, so these get treated separately. And finally, for this week at any rate, I need to sort my prednisolone out. Prednisolone is a medicinal steroid, and I am on 40 mg for a week, which will end on Friday, and then I wean by going down 1 tablet every day for 7 days. So I count these out separately and then put them in the thing, because they're tiny little tablets and incredibly fiddly. As you may have seen, I'm filling these backwards because I've already made the classic mistake of I filled Sunday in. So I will be taking Sunday morning's tablets today, and then moving Mondays to Sunday. Now I need to find where I put prednisolone stock as well. I don't normally have prednisolone in stock, but what we do is we will have sort of rather large amounts when we do get it. So that's my pills near enough done. I now need to do 7 and 6. There we go. That's my pills done for the week. I also have some other pills that I take sort of daily, but again they don't get put into the box for a number of reasons, one of which being they're vitamins and are affected by sunlight, etc. So I'm on vitamin known as DECA, that's vitamin D, E, K and A, and I take the 1 essential and 1 plus, because people with cystic fibrosis absorb vitamins at a much slower rate. I also take fish oil and an additional vitamin C supplement. But again, I just do those every day because obviously light affects vitamins. And this is the Magic Simkevi, also known as Simdeco in the United States. And in the evening I take Karodeku, which some of you may remember as the original of the modulators that were released by Vertex. So there you have it, about 15 minutes of your life you won't get back, but I hope it's taught you something.